Hey yo, you ready for the beat of our crypto drums? Cause it's time for Chico Crypto. The Bitcoin cult. You ever heard of it? Well, in the decades since Bitcoin's launch, an alternative way of transacting has inspired an alternative way of thinking, acting, living, and even an alternative way of consuming down to a person's food. We'll get into that later. But this episode takes us through different history periods, a couple, comparing their way of life to this new crypto way. So number one, let's get into how Bitcoin and crypto has changed the way people act after they got involved. Tribalism. I'm sure you heard what that is and have heard about its effects in crypto. I've made more than a few videos on it in the past. To sum it up, Bitcoin and crypto brings out the primal beast in people like never before. The internet, which I'm on, was the foundation for this financial tribalism, as it was a brand new world for humans that wasn't conquered. A digital communicative world, but in it there were no established boundaries, rulers, communities, or a person to say you could do this or that. It was a free and open landscape that did something. It connected human consciousness and thus created collective community consciousness, altering the way people think. You've heard about it. The communities across the internet, from hacking groups to 4chan to the alt-right. The internet can make people think in different ways and at a pace this world has never seen. Now, how about you add in an internet money, a money not ruled like the internet? How do you think it's going to transform the communities the internet has built? A financial incentive, a stake at hand. Like I said, the primal beast, it gets unleashed.
Scavengers, when we should be conquerors.
Crypto communities, they are tribal to the core. Once crypto is owned, people are incentivized to make it go up in value against the other competing cryptos. I mean, Bitcoin has already split two ways, and then the second half Bitcoin Cash already split because of this tribalism and fight for control over the internet's money. And then Ethereum spawned to take on Bitcoin, and it has already split once. And now altcoins each have their own fierce tribes ready to attack at a moment's notice. So humans, when there's an opportunity for financial gain in limited resources in unknown internet territory, it's like we go back to the Middle Ages. Tribal wars, blockchain wars, tribal truces, crypto partnerships, tribal alliances, bridges being laid, you get my drift? And now here comes the real fun stuff. How this all really changes the mind, the way people think. As an asset, Bitcoin can be considered an asset that changes one's mental state more so than gold. You remember the term gold fever? It changed the way man acted. It infected nations and is still caught to this day, although it's not like it once was because of, regulations. But now we have Bitcoin fever. Diving into Bitcoin and learning about its properties can change one's brain incentive structure and mental state, just like gold before the regulations. During gold fever in the States, the 1800s, man and family, they sacrificed all to travel across the country to the Wild West to make it with usually gold. In between 1848 to 1855, approximately 1.7% of the US population were drawn to California alone in search of gold, risking it all, stability and life back east, which meant all their money and assets, and sometimes their own life out west too. Some made it, some didn't, but I bet you the wives or husbands of the crazy ones who tried, just like Bitcoin or crypto investors' wives and husbands, were asking, what the heck are you doing? It changed the way they thought back then. It made them make what looked like a riskier decision on the surface, as people were in search of an asset whose value was accruing over time, sacrificing the present wants and needs for future gains. Bitcoin and crypto is oh so similar. People right now are sacrificing it all. Remember this story back in the 2017 bull run. This family bet it all on Bitcoin, and yeah, Didi did that. He sacrificed his home, his possessions, and put it all into BTC, and many others have done the same, and I do not recommend that. But the sacrificial nature of Bitcoin and crypto is right to its core. Proof of work miners sacrifice electricity, nodes they sacrifice bandwidth, and investors like Didi, they sacrifice other assets in USD. But here's what's different about gold fever versus Bitcoin fever, and it all goes back to that USD or fiat currency. In recent industrialized times, the goal with accumulation of other assets like gold was to turn it right back into fiat currency, as the government hadn't ruined the USD or their fiat currency just yet. There was no HODL spirit. Sacrifice then HODL on for dear life is the crypto anthem, which is due to a Bitcoin or crypto asset being perceived as worth much more down the road due to what the governments are doing with their fiat currencies. That's why Satoshi created it. Fiat is losing faith. Each person that learns about BTC, a brain pathway is changed, the brain incentive structure, which changes the way we want to live and consume, releasing the primal beast once again. So now let's go from the 1800s, the gold rush, back to the Middle Ages, the Viking Age to be specific. Europe was made up of petty kingdoms after travelers took risks to dominate the land. They were securing their wealth in land, the oldest asset of all, which has only increased in value and is limited on this earth, which, as we know, changed the way man acted and thought. A warring nature. Attacks from outsiders were common against these small petty kingdoms, as people wanted this scarce asset for themselves to build their own kingdom. Now, some people will think I'm crazy, but Bitcoin and some crypto are like having a piece of the world's digital land. It's scarce digital assets, a claim to the network's value. In the same way many kingdoms and fortresses were built then, some are being built right now to protect these digital lands, aka cryptos. Armed global IT security company G4S in late 2018 announced they were offering a security system for offline cold storage of crypto assets in multiple distributed, armed, and protected vaults, and Bakkt might be using their storage, as you can see for both their warm and cold storage wallets, 24/7 armed security. A fortress to protect these assets. Have you ever heard of the term Citadel? The Bitcoin Citadel. Mass fortresses, a manifestation of Bitcoin utopianism to protect this newfound wealth. The spread of this Bitcoin Citadel concept can be tracked to a 2013 Reddit post where a supposed time traveler had come to warn present beings of what the Bitcoin future would look like. They said our future held a world with very limited governments. As the governments crumbled, as the world turned for Bitcoin and the government's taxing power, it fell aside. Early adopters, called earlies, they struck it beyond rich and created Citadel fortresses to protect their miners and assets. And those who held Bitcoin, the smaller amounts, were seeking refuge in these walled-off citadels where life was good, robotic, automated, nothing like the apocalypse Mad Max world beyond the Citadel walls. Since the post, even though the author came out and said it was just a story, the Citadel concept has been tongue-in-cheek within the Bitcoin community. For example, just in August of this year, CoinDesk dropped this article, "The Bitcoiners Who Live Permanently Not There," with the subheading, Katie Ananina is building her Citadel and selling others on the dream, which is the Plan B passport for Bitcoin, a property in tax-friendly remote areas of the world. Good marketing for Katie or good future planning for the buyers? I'll let you be the judge. But this protective Citadel concept goes way further. I made a video on it 6 months ago. Why are billionaires buying Bitcoin and nuclear bunkers? Give that video a watch. It's in the card above, or it's in the description if you want to finish this video. So finally, let's finish it off with how Bitcoin changes the way some consume, right down to the way some of the big whales eat. Nom, 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 nom. Because some are sacrificing right now for the future value of a Bitcoin or crypto asset, they also consume less now. Consumption, it restricts down from the consumerism wants to the primal basic needs, like land, which we have talked about, shelter, which we have talked about, and food, which we haven't talked about. These are the areas the Bitcoin cult they will splurge, besides the occasional Lambo. But regarding food, there is a Bitcoin cult in of itself, the Bitcoin Carnivore cult. Vice covered it all the way back in 2017, inside the world of the Bitcoin Carnivores, where the Bitcoin whale community chooses to exclusively eat meat. Kind of primal, wouldn't you say? And then CoinDesk covered this one too, just last week, where the meat-only trend is spreading to this day. So, what's your stake, David Koresh? Cheers, I'll see you next time.